Well, after our little snowstorm, we waited for the next weather window. The weather was extremely cold. It was in the 30s, and the weather was still kind of stirred up. The water around here and in the Sounds here in the Carolinas in general is very shallow. When the winds blow hard, it can really whip up the waves. So we were waiting things to calm down a bit and looking forward to continue our journey north. I find the weather patterns this time of year usually have about 5-6 days of fronts moving through and disturbed weather, and then you get a couple of days of nice weather. Had a couple of day weather window, and so we were excited, and we got all squared away and headed out at first light.
Everybody, how you doing? I don't know if you can hear me. It's kind of a lot of wind. It's loud. We're just about to enter out into some big water, and we got some nice waves. We got our sail up, which is definitely, we can tell the difference. It's definitely stabilizing the boat, not making it roll as much. So it's been good.
Yeah, there was a pretty big difference when we came out onto the south end of the river. Then almost immediately, the wind and the waves picked up dramatically.
The wind was intense too.
I don't remember being on the boat, moving and hearing the kind of wind sounds we were hearing. It was really unnerving. When the winds got really high, we pulled the jib in to just make it the size of a storm sail. And even then, watching that on the roller furler, the pressure that you could see was exerted on it made me afraid. I hope this roller furler stays intact and the pin doesn't come out and it goes flying. The pressure was incredible. We never experienced the amount of spray that we got on this trip. We were getting regularly doused with water coming up over the deck, like literally even straight into the face with water and waves. And just Vinny protecting his the electrical equipment, was really important and really scary and difficult. And trying to even capture film shots without ruining the camera, that was also difficult. There was a lot of stuff going on. One thing that helped with confidence of getting through this experience was I just knew that our boat was able to handle it. I just knew that this boat was made sturdy, was made to, perform under these conditions. So that did give me increased confidence, and I think it was part of what helped us to get through.
One of the things that I learned was management of fear. My first instinct was to turn around. I actually did make a 180-degree turn to not go through what looked like wind and waves that were beyond my experience level. However, I realized that there was nowhere for me to run. It was just as bad behind me as in front of me, so I just determined to just move forward and get through this section of water. And I did that by breathing real deep, doing a lot of deep breathing, and focusing on my chart plotter to keep the boat in the narrow sea lane and so that I would not go aground. I really found that by not looking at the waves, that really helped calm me, and I could just focus on doing the navigation.
I think that was the other thing that really helped us both get through it, is we both talked to each other and had our roles. So since Vinny was looking at his chart plotter and trying to keep it dry and keep us on course because of the force of the winds, I then had my role as the lookout and doing anything else that was needed, and communicating with each other, having our roles and then focusing on them really helped to decrease the fear.
I think lastly what gave me confidence is just the way that we work together in stressful situations, even in a crisis situation. We work together well, and I had a renewed confidence in both your ability as well as mine and the team that we are together. We both really felt a sense of relief when we saw ahead the Alligator Bridge, which meant that we were very close to our destination. And I also noticed that the wind of the waves were worse for about 2 hours at the southern end of the water, and that's because the winds had, kind of stirred up and pushed all that water up. I also wanted to share about Patreon today. Those of you who asked me questions about it, first of all, we gotta understand what Patreon is not. It is not a charity. You know how like when someone has a fire, they lose their home, or maybe they have an illness, and a friend will, develop a crowdsourcing, kind of like donate this to help this family or this person. That's charity, that's really great, that's really good to do. But that's not what Patreon is. Patreon is supporting what you think is a certain art. In other words, it may be someone on YouTube that writes songs and sings. They don't have a recording contract, but you really like their music, so you give them, $3 for every video they make, $10 a month or whatever. Do whatever you choose to do. Or it may be a theater company, or it could be a painter that you like their painting, or it could be someone who makes films. And so that's important to understand that our Patreon supporters, they're patrons of the arts, and they think that my episodes are artistic. Why? Because it's cinema, it's film. And so if that's what it's about. So it's not about charity. We've had some people kind of write us angrily saying, how dare you ask for money? And well, two things. Number one, if you don't ask in life, you're definitely not going to receive. So there's no shame in asking. Number two, it's not charity. If you think the videos are artistic, then you can support it. And that's really all it is. That's all it's about. If you think you're getting something of value, then that's why you would support any artist. And that's what the theme of Patreon is all about.